So the crossover starts off on Supergirl, and it's titled "Crisis on Earth X," a new 53rd Earth apparently that no one likes to go to, and is completely ruled by Nazis. And at some point, the Reverse Flash Thon went to that Earth just because he wanted to for some reason, which is weird and doesn't make sense timeline, but neither did Legends of Tomorrow, but I guess Legends of Tomorrow made more sense with him coming back, but oh well. It opens up on Earth X, and Arrow, well, Evil Arrow, I should say, is taking down, I guess, freedom fighters who have no idea what their plan was to stop everything, especially since it seemed way too late and they could probably never win, but oh well. And the Guardian shows up from Supergirl, and this is the first time in Supergirl we saw Guardian suit up this season at least. And he suits up just to die, be killed by the Arrow. I'm surprised he lasted that long on that Earth if this Arrow defeated him so fast, but oh well. Then it goes back to the main heroes, with Barry in Central City fighting King Shark, and Iris worrying about all their main guests not RSVPing to the wedding yet, when the wedding's tomorrow. And Felicity is basically talking to Oliver about the same thing as he beats up random people in buildings all by himself and without the rest of Team Arrow for some reason. But of course they RSVP. And then on to Legends, who were in England 1183 AD, apparently in the Robin Hood times. And they decided to RSVP as well. Then on to Supergirl, who was fighting a Dominator, destroyed a car, talked with Alex, drunk some wine, and first she didn't want to go to the wedding because of everything that's happened previously with Monel. But then she quickly changes her mind, opens a portal. I think it's the same portal machine that Cisco gave her last crossover that she never used before. She only uses it for crossovers, but she could have used it like earlier. And I guess same thing with Oliver, well, kind of, since I think last crossover he promised he'd hang out with Barry more, but he never did. They only all come together when the world's about to end, or if someone gets married, I guess. And then the next scene, they all basically show up at once because you could see the wave rider in the background, Supergirl opening the portal, and I guess Arrow on his motorcycle. And then I guess Iris takes her bridesmaids to a spa to get their nails done and talk a little. And then Barry and Oliver get their tux fitted, I guess, and have a small conversation. And I feel like this episode and the crossover on the Arrow episode moved really fast, but I guess it slowed down a little in Arrow. But it's like scene, and like no breaks. And there's like no emotion from the characters. It's because everything's happening so fast, and you have to do with the side drama that's happening on each show. Like Firestorm not wanting to be together on Jack's side and Stein wanting to separate. And then Felicity and Oliver's drama, but I guess that wasn't introduced in Arrow yet. Felicity not wanting to marry Oliver again because everything bad happens when people try to get married. But luckily, let's see, Cisco made a serum, I guess, to separate Firestorm. And I guess that would leave one person or without powers, or both of them without powers, since they need both of them to be powerful. I guess. Because I thought before what Legends was leading to is that Jax would just be Firestorm by himself without Stein, but I guess that's not how it's gonna go. And then after watching these 2 episodes, I realized that Ralph wasn't really there. I don't think he was in the last episode of The Flash either, though. Because it was the bachelor party, and then he was visiting the little girl after they fought off the villain that was stealing Native American artifacts from museums. And then Wally showed up, and then we never saw Ralph again after Wally showed back up. Well, anyways, then they had their pre-wedding rehearsal dinner. Alex and Sarah hook up, of course. And Stein creates a serum himself to give Jax sticking powers, which is not what he wants. Joe makes a beautiful speech with Cecile. Then Felicity yells at Oliver. And then flash forward to the next day at the wedding. And everyone's there, and I probably wasn't paying attention, but I don't think I saw Wally in the crowd, but after they were attacked, I saw him. And again, I'm surprised Ralph wasn't there, because he was at the bachelor party and Wally wasn't, but oh well. And then that, I guess, waiter or caterer, probably caterer, that talked to Barry before the ceremony. She did look a lot like Iris and Barry, so maybe future daughter. She's definitely from the future no matter what, based on her dialogue. But then I thought again, maybe, because Cecile is pregnant, there is a possibility that it could be Iris's little sister, or probably is their future kid, because it's still kind of confusing, because then technically she would be Barry's step little sister or adopted little sister, but either way, sister-in-law. It's still weird though. I find it that technically Iris and Barry are siblings by adoption, and Joe always treats them like they're both his kids, so it's still weird. And Joe always brings it up every time he has a chance. But I guess he's cool with it. Anyways, evil Supergirl shows up with Nazis and kills that priest, which no one cares about, apparently, completely zapped him. And then a cool fight breaks out, and it's nice to see everyone fighting together. I think what I like the most about this crossover is all the action. Because I think last crossover, most of the action was like in Legends that I can remember, but there's been like back-to-back action throughout for Supergirl and Arrow for this crossover episode, which I liked. And a lot of long shots. And some cool team-up moves with Sarah and Alex, and well, especially Oliver and Cisco, since Cisco opened a portal for him, which he jumped out and used to shoot, I guess, Prometheus? Or it's either Prometheus or Evil Arrow, because everything was happening at once and probably confused two of them at some point, but I know I heard Prometheus is like theme in the background at some point, so it probably was him. And apparently at some point they captured Prometheus, but everything was happening and so much was going on, it's probably hard to pay attention. Then Wally was kind of in the background. He saved some people, stopped some bullets. I feel like they should have used Wally more, but I'll take what I can get. And then Supergirl was fighting herself, which I guess I thought it'd end up more even, but I guess good Supergirl is slightly more powerful than evil Supergirl. Maybe, if that's how it works. And it ends with the evil versions of them on the roof with the reverse flash, and apparently they weren't supposed to attack until a designated time. They attacked way too early at the church, but like Evil Oliver said, they were just all right there, and I can see how easy it was for them to just hit them unexpectedly when they're all right there and unprepared. Which does make sense. And yeah, that was the first part of the crossover, and very action-packed, and it's a good start. But I do wonder how the caterer will come back into this, or will it be like William and I guess the first crossover, or not the first, the crossover after last crossover when they were fighting Vandal Savage, and before, which was used as an introduction to Legends. And William came back into Arrow's season after the crossover. Well, his storyline that continued. So I wonder if we won't see the caterer that could be Barry's future daughter until Flash after the crossover, or I guess Tuesday night, or tonight, I guess, on the Flash itself. Probably won't be until after the crossover since so much is already going on, but they do have 2 hours. Well, more like an hour and 20 minutes, but I probably will save it for the rest of the season. And maybe like a small cliffhanger at the end, or intro into episode 9 of The Flash, probably. That could work.